My friends, there is something extraordinary about a woman who knows her worth. She walks differently, she speaks differently, and most importantly, she lives differently. She doesn't seek validation, she radiates it. She doesn't beg for attention, she commands respect. Her strength isn't in arrogance, it's in awareness. Awareness of who she is, what she carries within her, and what she deserves in this world. You see, when a woman truly recognizes her worth, she stops shrinking to fit in. She no longer lowers her voice to make others comfortable. She realizes that her kindness is not weakness, and her patience is not permission for others to take her for granted. She learns that self-respect is not pride. It is self-love in its purest form. A woman who knows her worth doesn't chase what's not meant for her. She trusts what's written for her. She doesn't compare herself with others because she understands that comparison steals contentment. Her focus is not on competition, but on contribution. She knows that her presence adds value wherever she stands, and she refuses to settle for less than she deserves. Not because she thinks she's better than others, but because she finally understands her value. There comes a time in every woman's life when she stops being impressed by superficial things, money, looks, titles, and starts seeking peace, respect, and authenticity. That's when her true power awakens. That's when she becomes unstoppable, not loud, not aggressive, but calm, confident, and clear about who she is. And when that happens, the world takes notice. Not because she demands it, but because her energy speaks louder than words. The world respects a woman who respects herself. And when she honors her worth, she silently teaches others how to treat her. That, my friends, is her real power. Awareness creates power. The moment a woman becomes aware of who she truly is, something profound begins to shift within her. She no longer sees herself through the lens of others' opinions or the weight of past mistakes. She starts seeing herself through the eyes of truth, clear, calm, and confident. Awareness is not just about knowing your name, your role, or your responsibilities. It's about recognizing the immense strength, beauty, and light that already exists within you. It's about understanding that your worth is not defined by what you do or how others treat you, but by who you are at your core. When a woman wakes up to this realization, she steps out of the cycle of doubt and dependency. She stops living life on autopilot and begins to live with intention. She no longer needs the world to tell her she's good enough, smart enough, or beautiful enough. She looks within and finds all the validation she ever needed. Awareness allows her to see that her value was never missing. It was merely forgotten. And when she remembers, her world changes. With awareness, she begins to notice the subtle ways she once gave away her power. By saying yes when she meant no. By staying silent when she should have spoken. By shrinking herself so others could feel comfortable. But now she stands tall. She realizes that her voice matters, her feelings matter, and her dreams matter. She no longer apologizes for existing fully. Awareness doesn't make her arrogant, it makes her authentic. It allows her to honor herself, not out of ego, but out of understanding. Every challenge she faced in the past, every heartbreak, rejection or failure no longer defines her, it refines her. Awareness transforms pain into wisdom. She begins to see that every wound taught her strength, and every ending was a hidden beginning. She learns to stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and starts asking, "What is this teaching me?" That shift, that awakening, turns her struggles into stepping stones. She no longer blames life, she learns from it. A woman who is aware of her worth walks with a different kind of grace. There's a calm confidence in her presence. Not loud, not boastful, but steady and serene. People may not understand her silence, but they can feel her strength. She doesn't compete. She doesn't compare, and she doesn't chase. She simply aligns herself with what resonates with her soul. Awareness frees her from the need to prove anything to anyone. She becomes content, yet constantly growing. When she knows herself, she cannot be easily manipulated. The world can't make her feel small because she understands that no one has the right to measure her value. Her worth is not negotiable. It's constant, like the light of the sun. Awareness teaches her to respond instead of react, to listen before she speaks, and to move forward with peace rather than haste. It gives her balance between strength and softness, between logic and love, and as her awareness deepens, she becomes a mirror for others. Her calmness inspires, her confidence uplifts, her authenticity gives others permission to be themselves. She doesn't need to preach, her presence becomes the message. Because the moment a woman becomes aware of her worth, she not only transforms her life, she changes the energy of every room she walks into. She becomes the kind of woman who doesn't need the world to recognize her power because she already does. A woman who knows her worth does not live for approval. She lives from a place of self-respect. She no longer waits for someone to tell her she is enough because she has already told herself that. When she wakes up in the morning, she looks into the mirror and sees not perfection, but purpose. She understands that validation from others is temporary, but validation from within is everlasting. Her respect for herself becomes her shield against the noise of the world. People's opinions no longer shake her because her sense of self is rooted too deeply to be uprooted by someone else's perception. In the past, she might have bent over backward to please others, trying to earn their approval by doing more, giving more, and being more than she needed to be. But as she grows, she realizes that no matter how hard she tries, some people will never see her worth. And that's okay. She stops begging for recognition and starts living for alignment. She begins to understand that her worth is not a discount item waiting for someone to pick up on sale. It's a treasure that must be recognized by those who know its value. Self-respect teaches her something profound, that silence is sometimes louder than explanation. that walking away can be an act of dignity, and that saying no does not make her unkind, it makes her wise. When she respects herself, she stops tolerating situations that drain her energy or relationships that belittle her spirit. She no longer seeks to be liked by everyone because she knows not everyone is meant to walk beside her. Her peace becomes more important than their approval. She learns that it's not her job to convince others of her worth. It's her job to live it. Self-respect also reshapes how she carries herself. There's an unspoken grace in her demeanor, a calm assurance that comes from knowing who she is and what she stands for. She doesn't need to shout to be heard or boast to be seen. Her quiet confidence speaks louder than words. She commands respect not through authority, but through authenticity. People feel her strength in her calmness, in the way she holds herself with dignity, even when no one is watching. She also learns to respect her time, her body, her emotions, and her dreams. She doesn't overextend herself to meet unrealistic expectations. She listens to her intuition and honors what her heart tells her. When she is tired, she rests. When she feels undervalued, she leaves. She understands that protecting her peace is not selfish, it is sacred. By respecting herself, she sets the standard for how others should treat her. And because she respects herself, she respects others too. She no longer engages in gossip, drama, or negativity. She doesn't try to prove she's better than anyone. She simply strives to be better than who she was yesterday. Her focus shifts from pleasing people to pleasing her soul. She begins to realize that respect is a reflection. What you give yourself is mirrored back by the world. A woman rooted in self-respect walks through life with her head held high, not because she's proud, but because she's peaceful. She no longer seeks validation in compliments, likes, or attention, because her worth is not attached to those fleeting things. She carries a quiet assurance that says, I am enough even when unnoticed. Her approval comes from within, and that makes her unshakable. Kindness is not weakness. It is one of the strongest forces a woman can possess. The world often misinterprets a gentle heart as a fragile one, but true kindness comes from an inner strength that most people cannot comprehend. It takes courage to remain kind in a world that sometimes rewards cruelty. It takes resilience to stay soft when life has given you every reason to harden. A woman who knows her worth understands this balance. She knows that being kind doesn't mean allowing others to take advantage of her. It means choosing grace over bitterness, compassion over revenge, and understanding over judgment. Kindness for her is not about being naive. It is about being aware of darkness, but still choosing light. It is knowing what people are capable of, yet choosing not to mirror their behavior. She doesn't allow the harshness of others to poison her heart. Instead, she uses her softness as a weapon of wisdom. Her kindness is not submission, it is strength under control. It is a calm power that says, I will not let the world change who I am. There was a time she might have confused kindness with pleasing people. She might have thought saying yes to everyone made her a good person. But growth taught her that true kindness sometimes means saying no. It means protecting her boundaries, even if it disappoints others. It means not rescuing everyone at the cost of her own peace. She realizes that she cannot pour from an empty cup, and self-care is also an act of kindness to herself and to the people she loves. Her kindness is visible not only in her words, but also in her actions. She listens when others need to be heard. She forgives not because they deserve it, but because she deserves peace. She helps others rise without expecting applause. But when someone mistakes her kindness for weakness, she doesn't argue. She simply withdraws her energy. She knows her time and attention are gifts, and she chooses where to invest them wisely. A kind woman doesn't live to prove herself. She leads with love because it aligns with her spirit. Her kindness becomes her signature. It softens rooms, heals hearts, and inspires others to treat people better. Even when others misjudge her, she doesn't stop being kind. She just learns to be discerning. She knows that not everyone deserves her energy, but she never lets that turn her bitter. She chooses kindness not because of others, but because it's who she is. Her gentle words can disarm anger. Her calm presence can ease tension. Her compassion can build bridges where walls once stood. But what makes her powerful is that her kindness is rooted in strength. She has faced storms, survived heartbreaks, and walked through disappointments, but she never let them destroy her softness. That is the mark of true courage. A woman who knows her worth understands that kindness is not about being liked. It's about being true to her nature. The world may not always return her goodness, but she gives it anyway because she believes that goodness is never wasted. Every act of kindness plants a seed that blooms somewhere, even if unseen. And though she may not always receive the same energy she gives, she continues to shine because her kindness is not dependent on the world. It comes from the power within her heart. When a woman knows her worth, she begins to understand that boundaries are not barriers. They are bridges to peace, self-respect, and emotional balance. For too long, many women have been taught that saying no makes them selfish, that speaking up makes them difficult, and that setting limits makes them unkind. But when a woman awakens to her inner value, she realizes that boundaries are not acts of rejection. They are acts of love. Love for herself, for her energy, for her time, and for the life she is building with intention and purpose. She starts to see that not everyone deserves equal access to her. Her energy is sacred, and it is not meant to be freely spent on those who drain her spirit or take her for granted. A woman who knows her worth understands that she cannot be everything to everyone. She cannot heal everyone, fix every problem, or carry every burden. She realizes that her peace is too precious to be traded for temporary approval. So, she draws lines, not out of anger, but out of wisdom, setting boundaries doesn't make her cold or distant, it makes her clear. It means she knows where she ends and where someone else begins. She learns that saying no is not a wall that pushes people away. It's a doorway to self-respect. Every time she honors her limits, she reinforces her sense of self-worth. She no longer allows guilt to dictate her decisions or fear to silence her truth. She stands firmly in the understanding that she has the right to protect her heart, her dreams, and her peace. There was a time when she may have said yes just to avoid conflict, to keep others happy, or to prevent disappointment. But now she knows that constantly saying yes to others often means saying no to herself. She learns that self-sacrifice without purpose only leads to exhaustion. So she chooses wisely. She says yes when her heart aligns with it, and she says no when it costs her too much of herself. That's not selfishness, it's self-awareness. Her boundaries also teach others how to treat her. People begin to see that she's not easily manipulated, that her kindness has strength behind it. When someone crosses a line, she doesn't explode or create drama. She simply steps back. Her silence and distance speak louder than any argument ever could. She knows that peace doesn't always require confrontation. Sometimes it simply requires walking away. And in protecting her space, she finds freedom. She has more time for what truly matters, for her growth, her goals, her joy, and her well-being. She no longer spends her days trying to fix broken connections or chasing people who don't see her value. Instead, she surrounds herself with those who honor her boundaries, those who understand that respect and love go hand in hand. Her life becomes lighter because she's no longer carrying the weight of everyone's expectations. She's no longer overextending herself to prove her worth. She has learned that her worth is not measured by how much she gives, but by how deeply she honors herself, and by drawing boundaries with confidence and grace. She teaches others a silent but powerful lesson that when a woman knows her worth, she no longer fears losing people. She fears losing herself. So she chooses to protect her peace, because peace is where her power truly lives. When a woman knows her worth, she stops chasing and begins attracting. She no longer runs after people, opportunities, or validation, because she understands that what is meant for her will naturally find its way to her when she aligns with her true self. Chasing comes from fear, the fear of missing out, of being forgotten, or of not being enough. But when a woman stands in her worth, fear loses its grip on her. She replaces chasing with becoming. Instead of trying to impress the world, she focuses on improving herself. She pours her energy into her growth, her peace, and her purpose, trusting that what belongs to her will never require her to beg or exhaust herself to keep. She understands that the right things, people, opportunities, love, success are not drawn to desperation but to confidence. So she works on herself silently, building her inner world so beautifully that the outer world begins to reflect it. She cultivates her mind with knowledge, strengthens her character with discipline, and softens her heart with gratitude. She learns that true attraction comes from alignment, not from effort. When her energy is peaceful, her spirit authentic, and her actions consistent, she naturally attracts what is in harmony with her soul. In her past, she may have chased attention, thinking it equaled affection. She may have run after approval, believing it proved her worth. But life teaches her differently. She learns that anything she has to chase will run away again. Real love doesn't require convincing. Real opportunities don't need to be forced. What is truly meant for her will never require her to sacrifice her dignity. So instead of chasing, she prepares, she becomes ready. She becomes the kind of woman who doesn't need to look for blessings. They come looking for her because of who she has become. She also begins to understand timing. She doesn't rush her journey or compare her pace to others. She knows that everything blooms when it's meant to, so she moves through life with patience and faith. She surrenders the illusion of control and learns the art of trust. Trust in herself, trust in her effort, and trust in the universe's plan. She stops asking, "When will it happen?" and starts saying, "It will happen when it's meant to." That shift brings peace to her heart and strength to her steps. And when something or someone is not aligned with her, she doesn't force it. She understands that forcing only leads to frustration. She lets go gracefully, knowing that letting go creates space for better things to come. She no longer clings out of fear of loss, because she knows that nothing truly meant for her can ever be lost. This faith becomes her quiet power. It allows her to move through life with ease, without chasing, controlling, or proving. When a woman stops chasing and starts attracting, her energy changes. People feel her calm confidence. They sense that she is complete within herself. She becomes magnetic, not because she's trying, but because she's glowing from within. She walks with purpose, speaks with clarity, and acts with conviction. She doesn't chase love, she radiates it. She doesn't chase success, she creates it through her consistency. And she doesn't chase validation because she already knows her worth. That is the beauty of her power. When she stops running after the world starts moving toward her. A woman who knows her worth understands that comparison is the thief of joy. She no longer measures her value by the success, appearance, or achievements of others. She knows that her path is uniquely hers, and no one else can walk it the way she can. In a world that constantly tries to make her feel like she's behind, not enough, or less than someone else, she chooses peace over pressure. She recognizes that comparison is a silent poison. It slowly eats away at confidence, gratitude, and self-belief. So she stops looking sideways and begins looking inward, focusing not on what others are doing, but on how far she has come. She realizes that every woman has her own timing, her own struggles, her own blessings, and her own lessons. What looks perfect on the outside often hides battles that are unseen. She learns to admire others without feeling inferior and to celebrate others without feeling small. Her heart becomes big enough to applaud another woman's victory because she knows it takes nothing away from her own. Her mindset shifts from competition to inspiration. She starts saying, if she can do it, I can too, instead of, why not me? This awareness frees her. It allows her to live life at her own pace, in her own rhythm. She no longer feels the need to rush her process just to keep up with others. She understands that flowers don't compete to bloom, they simply bloom when it's their season. In the same way, she trusts her journey. She knows that what's meant for her will never miss her. Even if it takes time, she replaces envy with gratitude, and suddenly her heart feels lighter, her days brighter. Comparison once made her chase things she didn't even want. Jobs that didn't fulfill her, appearances that didn't feel authentic, relationships that didn't align with her soul. But now, she chooses alignment over appearance. She asks herself not, how do I look compared to her? But am I living true to myself? That shift changes everything. Her focus turns from impressing others to improving herself. She starts investing her time in growth, learning, and becoming the best version of herself, not a copy of someone else, but a masterpiece of her own making. She learns that no two stories are the same. Some women find success early, some later, some find love easily, others through lessons and heartbreaks. But each path has beauty, purpose, and meaning. And when she truly embraces that, she finds peace in her own progress. She no longer rushes through life, trying to meet invisible deadlines or to prove something to the world. She simply grows in her own time with grace. And the beautiful thing is, when she stops comparing, her confidence blooms, her energy changes. She begins to attract more of what's right for her because she's no longer distracted by what belongs to others. She walks with quiet assurance, knowing she is enough exactly as she is. She celebrates her own wins, no matter how small, because she understands that progress, any progress, is still movement forward. A woman who knows her worth doesn't compete, she connects. She doesn't compare, she creates. She lives with gratitude, embraces her individuality, and trusts that she is on the right path, even if it looks different from everyone else's. Because she knows that her story, with all its detours and delays, is unfolding exactly as it should. And that realization is what keeps her joyful, grounded, and free. A woman who knows her worth reaches a stage in life where she chooses peace over popularity. She no longer craves to be liked by everyone because she understands that trying to please everyone only leads to losing herself. She has learned that not every opinion deserves her attention, and not every person deserves her energy. Her happiness no longer depends on who approves of her. It depends on how aligned she feels with her truth. When she was younger, she may have worked hard to fit in, to belong, to be accepted by those around her. But through experience, she discovered that belonging to herself is far more powerful than belonging to any crowd. Peace, for her, is not the absence of challenges, it's the presence of balance. She understands that real strength lies in staying calm amid chaos. She no longer reacts to every rumor, argument, or criticism that crosses her path. Instead, she responds with silence, wisdom, and grace. She has outgrown the need to explain herself to those committed to misunderstanding her. She has learned that peace is something she must protect daily, even if it means disappointing a few people along the way. There was a time when she mistook being kind for being available to everyone. She gave too much of her time, energy, and care to people who didn't value it. But now she realizes that peace sometimes means stepping back, creating distance, and saying no without guilt. She doesn't entertain drama or chaos because she knows her soul deserves serenity. She values quiet mornings, honest conversations, and genuine hearts more than attention, gossip, or noise. Choosing peace has also changed the way she approaches success. She no longer feels the need to show off her progress or prove her worth online or in front of others. She works silently and lets her results speak. She is content with privacy because she knows that peace often lives where noise does not. Her focus has shifted from impressing people to improving herself. She invests her energy in things that nourish her soul, learning, growing, loving, and healing. She also learns that peace comes from acceptance, accepting her past, her flaws, and her journey. She doesn't carry the burden of regret or resentment. She forgives not because they deserve it, but because she deserves peace. She understands that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means freeing herself from the chains of anger. She chooses to live light, to release what she cannot control, and to trust that everything is unfolding as it should. When she chooses peace, she becomes radiant. There's something magnetic about her calmness. People feel safe around her because her energy is steady and soothing. She no longer gets lost in competition or comparison. She walks at her own pace with her own grace. Her life becomes simpler but more meaningful. She doesn't need chaos to feel alive. She finds fulfillment in stillness, gratitude, and love. She no longer seeks popularity because she knows it is fleeting. She seeks purpose because that is eternal. She doesn't want to be seen by everyone. She wants to be understood by a few who truly value her. She knows that peace is not found in applause, but in authenticity. And so she lives a life where her mind is calm, her heart is kind, and her spirit is unbothered. Because once a woman discovers the beauty of inner peace, nothing loud, fake, or shallow can ever impress her again. A woman who knows her worth learns the art of letting go with grace. She no longer clings to what has already served its purpose. She no longer holds on to people, situations, or memories that drain her energy or disturb her peace. She understands that life is a continuous process of holding and releasing, of learning and unlearning. Letting go does not mean she is weak. It means she is wise enough to know when something no longer aligns with her growth. It takes immense courage to release what once felt so familiar, but she realizes that clinging to the past only delays her future. There was a time when she would try to fix everything: relationships, situations, even people who didn't want to be helped. She thought that if she gave more love, more effort, more of herself, things would change. But experience taught her that some things are not meant to be forced. Some stories are meant to end. And not every goodbye is a loss. Some are blessings in disguise. Now, instead of fighting for what drains her, she protects her peace and walks away with dignity. She knows that sometimes closure doesn't come in words. It comes in acceptance. Letting go with grace is not about indifference. It's about choosing herself. It's about understanding that holding on to pain, anger, or disappointment only keeps her stuck in places where she no longer belongs. She has learned that her heart cannot heal while her hands are still clenched. So, she releases, not because it's easy, but because she's finally ready to be free. She trusts that everything and everyone that leaves her life is making space for something greater to enter. When she lets go, she doesn't carry resentment in her heart. She doesn't curse what hurt her. Instead, she blesses it, thanks it for the lesson, and moves forward. Her grace becomes her greatest strength. She understands that letting go doesn't erase the memories. It simply removes their power to control her. She still remembers, but she no longer relives. She looks back with compassion, not with regret. She honors her past, but she no longer allows it to define her. There's a quiet beauty in the way she handles endings now. She no longer needs closure from others because she's found closure within herself. She doesn't chase explanations or apologies. She doesn't need validation to justify her decision to walk away. She knows that peace is the answer she was always looking for. And in that peace, she finds clarity. She finds strength. She finds herself again. Letting go also means making room for new beginnings. As she releases what no longer serves her, she opens her hands to receive what's meant for her. She realizes that life is not about holding on tightly, but about flowing freely. She embraces change instead of fearing it, trusting that every ending is just a chapter closing to make way for something more beautiful. And with every release, she rises a little higher. She becomes softer yet stronger, wiser yet freer. People may wonder how she can walk away so gracefully but they don't see the battles she fought within herself to reach this peace. They don't see how much strength it takes to choose healing over holding on. Letting go with grace doesn't mean she doesn't care. It means she cares enough about herself to stop breaking her own heart for what no longer fits her spirit. She walks away not in bitterness, but in quiet confidence, knowing that what's meant for her will always find her without her needing to chase, beg, or plead. And that truly is the power of a woman who knows her worth.